My name is Karara Muhoro, and I am a professor of chemistry. Today, I have a project called The Mechanism of the Dual Nature of the Coronavirus. Dual means two. So, the coronavirus has two properties that are the mechanism of the dual nature of the coronavirus. One, the coronavirus behaves like a particle, solid that vibrate in place, liquids that move around, particles move over each other in liquids, and then gases. So gases, on the other hand, move very fast. Gases move very fast. They move very fast. That's the particle nature of the coronavirus: solid, liquid, and gases. Number two, the coronavirus behaves like a catalyst. A catalyst speeds up the rate of chemical reactions. In the human body, the catalyst is carbonic anhydrase, a biological catalyst, an enzyme that speeds up the rate of chemical reactions. So these two properties, particle and catalyst, are meshed together, they are combined together to infect millions of people around the world with the coronavirus and kill hundreds of thousands of people around the world. Therefore, the objective of this project is to unveil, inform the scientific community how the coronavirus becomes the world pandemic, how the coronavirus triggers the world pandemic. Let's look at the mechanism of carbonic anhydrase so that we can comprehend the mechanism of the dual nature of the coronavirus. Carbonic anhydrase has a zinc ion at its active site, zinc ion. Zinc facilitates the abstraction of a proton from a water molecule that is bound to the active site. This produces a hydroxide ion. Hydroxide is rich in electrons. The hydroxide increases the acidity of the lungs, the acidity of the bloodstream. When this happens, the hemoglobin binds oxygen. So the mechanism of the dual nature of the coronavirus is about the interaction between carbonic anhydrase and hemoglobin. Hemoglobin binds oxygen like this. This graph, which represents how hemoglobin binds oxygen, shows that the first molecule binds to the hem of hemoglobin, that's oxygen, and this facilitates a conformational change that allows more oxygen to be bound to hemoglobin. This binding of oxygen to hemoglobin only happens when acidity of the lungs increases, regulated by carbonic anhydrase. The oxygen is then transported to the tissues for cell metabolism. In the tissues, carbon dioxide is produced from cell metabolism. But carbon dioxide is not soluble in water, aqueous medium, plasma. It must be converted to something that is soluble and then transported to the lungs to be removed as a byproduct, waste product. Happens like this. Carbon dioxide binds to the active site of carbonic anhydrase, the zinc ion, and then the hydroxide reacts with carbon dioxide to produce bicarbonate or carbonic acid. The carbonic acid decreases the pH, the acid level of the lungs, the acid level of the bloodstream, and this removes carbon dioxide from the lungs. And then the process begins again, a perfect mechanism of regulation of acidity and binding of oxygen. Two life-sustaining molecules, perfect mechanism. So, however, in the presence of the coronavirus, which acts like a catalyst, this mechanism of carbonic anhydrase is reversed. The reversal of the mechanism of carbonic anhydrase prevents water from binding to the active site of carbonic anhydrase, and this causes an increase or triggers an increase in exponential for carbon dioxide. This increase in carbon dioxide increases the acidity of carbonic acid. This increase in carbonic acid concentration decreases the pH of the lungs, the pH of the bloodstream. This change in chemistry of the lungs, this change in chemistry of the alveoli of the lungs, where exchange of gases occurs, is the cause for the world pandemic. So the mechanism of the dual nature of the coronavirus, which shows how the interaction between carbonic anhydrase and hemoglobin occurs, is affected by the coronavirus to trigger the world pandemic. So the lungs that were functional becomes inflamed, and this is like a chemical reaction. Normal lungs, infected lungs, or inflamed lungs, and the coronavirus. This arrow shows the result, which is not reversible. The change in chemistry of the lungs due to infection of carbonic anhydrase active site, the zinc ion, is the cause for the world pandemic, the dual nature of the coronavirus. The mechanism of the dual nature of the coronavirus is infecting, or shows how the infection of carbonic anhydrase occurs, changing the chemistry of the lungs and triggering the world pandemic. Thank you very much. I'll be back.